Hollywood sold us fairy tales, but behind the glitz and glamour were lavender marriages scripted by studio bosses, not Cupid. These weren't love stories. They were PR cover-ups, complete with locked honeymoon suites, fake kisses, and contracts signed in fear, not affection. From stars who chose love over millions to others who couldn't even get a goodnight peck, these juicy scandals are equal parts shocking, tragic, and hilariously absurd. Buckle up, because behind every perfect couple photo was a studio exec sweating bullets.
Number 1. Danny Kaye and Sylvia Fine, a marriage made in vaudeville and studio panic. Danny Kaye was Hollywood's king of comedy, quick with a joke, nimble on stage, and often cast as the lovable goofball who couldn't punch his way out of a paper bag. Off-screen, he was charming, eccentric, and tangled in rumors about his preference for male companions. Enter Sylvia Fine, brilliant lyricist, sharp as a tack, and the woman who would become Mrs. Kaye for nearly 50 decades. But before you cue the violins, let's get something straight. This wasn't exactly a storybook romance. They met while working on a Broadway flop. Because what says everlasting love like a show that closed too soon? They married in 1940 in sunny Florida, and for a while everything seemed picture perfect. They had a daughter, Dina, in 1946. They were a power couple on paper, but by 1947 cracks were showing. Kaye had reportedly realized their marriage lacked meaning, while Sylvia, ever the puppeteer, admitted to literally changing piano octaves to manipulate how he sang. That's not love, that's musical mind control. They briefly separated. Rumors swirled. People whispered that the marriage was a PR stunt, a lavender smokescreen to protect Kaye from the era's unforgiving gaze. He was, after all, no leading man in the traditional sense. Too fey, too flamboyant, too fabulous. And yet they reunited 7 months later and somehow stayed together until Kaye's death in 1987. Was it love, loyalty, fear of scandal, or simply two brilliant people who decided to ride out the Hollywood circus together? Whatever it was, their bond outlasted most real Hollywood marriages.
Number 2, Janet Gaynor and Adrian the Star, the designer and the most fashionable cover-up in Hollywood. Janet Gaynor was America's sweetheart, the first ever Oscar winner, a box office darling, and always glowing in that old Hollywood light. Adrian was MGM's legendary costume designer dressing Garbo Crawford, and nearly every woman who ever sashayed across a silver screen. But behind the silk gowns and glittering smiles, a lavender marriage so elegant even the lies had good tailoring. They tied the knot in 1939, and on paper it was a match made in movie magic. But within the industry, everyone knew. Adrian was openly gay in Hollywood circles. Gaynor was whispered to be bisexual, possibly in a long-standing relationship with co-star Margaret Lindsay. Hollywood didn't need a wedding, it needed camouflage. And oh, what a stylish smokescreen it was. They had a son, Robin, in 1940, and spent their days traveling the world with Gaynor's best friend, Mary Martin, and her husband, Richard Halliday. You know, just two Hollywood couples and maybe one very cozy foursome living the dream, and possibly sharing more than sunscreen at their Brazilian ranch. Bob Cummings once quipped Janet Gaynor's husband was Adrian, but her wife was Mary Martin. Was he joking? Possibly. Was he wrong? Probably not. Despite the murmurs, Adrian and Gaynor insisted their marriage was happy. And in many ways, it probably was. Emotional partnership. Check. Shared secrets, check. Fabulous vacation homes, double check. While others cracked under the pressure of pretending this duo made secrecy look chic. When Adrian died of a heart attack in 1959 while working on Camelot, how fitting Gaynor was devastated. But true to Hollywood form, she remarried 5 years later to producer Paul Gregory, continuing the fine tradition of strategic companionship. Janet and Adrian proved that in a town where everything is make-believe, even love could be well-tailored to fit. Number 3. Rudolph Valentino, the Latin lover who couldn't get past the hotel door. Rudolph Valentino, Hollywood's original Latin lover, the man who made women swoon and men question their barbers, wasn't just a heartthrob, he was a PR puppet caught in Tinseltown's fakest romance. Enter Gene Acker, glamorous, already more famous than Rudy, and secretly not that into men. Their wedding was supposed to be a match made in Hollywood heaven, but it turned out to be hell with a locked door. Literally. On their wedding night, Acker slammed the hotel room door in Valentino's face and kept it shut. They never consummated the marriage, but bless his heart, Valentino kept writing her love letters like a sad character in a silent movie, completely unaware she was gay and totally uninterested. Meanwhile, the studios were sweating. Valentino started taking on roles that weren't quite manly enough for 1920s America. Hello turbans and eyeliner in Monsieur Beaucaire, and the public started whispering. So what did the studio do? Easy time for Lavender marriage number 2. This time they paired him with Natasha Rambova, a costume designer already in a very real relationship with actress Alla Nazimova. Lavender love triangle, anyone. That marriage lasted about as long as a dramatic pause. By 1925 it was over and the press dubbed him the Pink Powder Puff, which in today's language roughly translates to not macho enough for America. Poor Rudy just wanted to be himself, but Hollywood had other plans. In the end, both of his marriages were studio-engineered disasters. Proof that no amount of forced chemistry or studio panic can fake real love. Valentino wasn't a fraud. He was just trapped in a script he didn't write. Number 4. Rock Hudson and Phyllis Gates, the studio's most romantic crisis management plan. Rock Hudson had it all: looks that could melt butter, a smile that made women faint, and a secret that could end his career faster than you could say Hollywood scandal. In the 1950s, he was the ultimate man's man on screen. Off-screen, let's just say the man preferred a different kind of leading role. When Confidential magazine threatened to out him for his relationships with men, his agent didn't call a lawyer, he called a wedding planner. Enter Phyllis Gates, Hudson's lovely secretary turned emergency bride. It wasn't love at first sight. It was damage control at first press leak. Within weeks, the two were married. The cameras were flashing, and the studio executives were popping champagne not for romance but relief. But behind the white smiles and wedding cake, a cold war of suspicion. Gates, perhaps genuinely in love or just playing her part, started noticing cracks in the fairy tale. So what did she do? Hired a private investigator, complete with hidden microphones, to catch her husband confessing. Imagine being recorded in your own living room by your own wife. Awkward doesn't begin to cover it. Hudson, meanwhile, played the perfect husband for 3 years, no small feat considering the tabloids and his own unhappiness. When rumors finally exploded, so did the marriage. They split, the studio moved on, and Hudson kept living the lie until AIDS forced the truth into the open in 1985. He became one of the first major stars to die from the disease, a tragic finale to a life directed by fear. The saddest part, Rock Hudson didn't fall from grace. He was pushed by a system that loved his face but never let him be himself. Number 5. Barbara Stanwyck and Robert Taylor, Hollywood's longest-running PR stunt. If Hollywood had an award for most convincing fake marriage, Barbara Stanwyck and Robert Taylor would have swept the category for nearly 2 decades. But behind the glamorous red carpets and perfect studio portraits was a couple so awkward even their honeymoon ended with Taylor sleeping at his mother's house. That's not just a red flag, that's a 5-alarm fire. Barbara Stanwyck was a powerhouse on screen and, according to biographer Axel Madsen, a closeted lesbian off it. Robert Taylor. Dashing, charming, and surrounded by whispers about his own orientation. So what do two beautiful, possibly not straight stars do in 1930s Hollywood? They get married because MGM told them to. Their nuptials in May 1939 weren't exactly driven by passion. Studio executives orchestrated the whole thing after a gossip magazine called them out for being Hollywood's hottest unmarried duo. Taylor's only real input, saying "I do" with all the enthusiasm of a man signing up for jury duty. Insiders say the couple had separate beds, separate lives, and shared one thing: a need to stay off the scandal pages. Taylor reportedly told actress Shelley Winters over dinner that Barbara was gay and that the whole marriage was just for show. Meanwhile, he was having flings with Ava Gardner and Eleanor Parker on the side. In 1950, Taylor spent the year in Rome filming and very publicly romancing Italian starlet Lea DeLeo. When Stanwyck flew to confront him, hoping to save their marriage, he basically shrugged and said, "Sure, let's get divorced." Ouch. Their divorce, finalized in 1951, ended one of Hollywood's most carefully crafted illusions. It was less a love story and more a long-running cover-up with great lighting. In the end, Stanwyck and Taylor didn't fall out of love, they were never really in it. Number 6, Cole Porter and Linda Lee. Thomas Love lyrics and the classiest closet in town. Cole Porter wrote songs that made America swoon, sultry, witty, devastatingly romantic. But behind every clever rhyme and champagne-soaked melody was a secret as stylish as his tuxedos. Cole was gay, and his muse was his wife. Enter Linda Lee Thomas, socialite, fashion icon, and divorcee with $1 million settlement from a toxic first husband. She met Cole at a Paris wedding in 1918, and sparks flew, not the rip-your-clothes-off kind, but the "I just met my best friend who will help me hide my sexuality with elegance" kind. They married in 1919, and for the next 34 years, they were the glamorous power couple. No screaming matches, no scandals, just lavish soirees, matching luggage, and a marriage built on wit, loyalty, and an unspoken understanding. Cole had flings and full-blown affairs with men, actors, composers, chorus boys, you name it. Linda knew. She wasn't naive. She was practical. She offered him freedom, he gave her devotion. They were each other's beard bestie and emotional support in an era that allowed none of that to exist out in the open. They bounced between New York, LA, and Paris, sipping martinis while hiding one of the most elegant open secrets in entertainment history. And somehow, through all the glitter and whispered gossip, they were genuinely happy. Maybe not sexually, maybe not traditionally, but in their own code, absolutely. When Linda died in 1954 from emphysema, Cole lost more than a wife, he lost his anchor. He never remarried, never really recovered. In private, he admitted she was the love of his life, just not in the way society expected. And maybe that's the most Cole Porter thing of all: unconventional, clever, and far more honest than anyone dared admit at the time. Their marriage wasn't about hiding, it was about survival style and the deepest kind of companionship. Because when it came to love, they did it their way and with perfect orchestration. Number 7, William Haynes and Jimmy Shields, the star who said no to Hollywood and yes to love. In 1930, William Haynes was the king of the box office, handsome, charming, and cashing studio checks faster than you could light a cigarette. But while other stars were signing fake marriage contracts, Haynes was too busy living openly with the love of his life, Jimmy Shields. Yep, openly, in the 1930s, with matching beachwear no less. Hollywood didn't know what to do with that. So when Haynes was arrested in a YMCA with a sailor, Yes, really, MGM's mighty Louis B. Mayer called him in for the ultimatum. Marry a woman or kiss your career goodbye. Without missing a beat, Haynes looked Mayer dead in the eye and said, "I am married." Mic drop. Mayer wasn't amused. Haynes was immediately blacklisted, his career iced, and his name erased from the leading man rotation. But instead of crawling back or faking a wedding for a few more films, Haynes walked right back home to Shields. And together, they built something even more impressive than a film resume, an empire. Haynes and Shields founded William Haynes Designs, which soon became the go-to interior design firm for Hollywood royalty. Joan Crawford, their longtime friend, called their relationship the happiest marriage in Hollywood. And coming from her, that says something. They were inseparable for nearly 50 years. No PR spin, no sham ceremonies. Just two men in love building homes for others while fiercely protecting their own. When Haynes died of lung cancer in 1973, Shields couldn't bear the loss. Just 3 months later, he took his own life, leaving a note that read, "I now find it impossible to go it alone. I am too lonely." They now rest side by side in Santa Monica together, forever, no